and welcome to my channel. For this video, I'm going to be remaking these little cake slice plushies. And oh my goodness, these plushies are really old. I made these back when I first started plushie making. I know I made them at least in 2013 because I showed them in the first video I have on my YouTube channel. But I think I actually made these earlier than that. If I had to guess, I would say I made them in 2012. But I honestly can't remember exactly when I made these. Even though I wasn't skilled in plushie making like at all back then, I still think these plushies came out really cute. And then just to show you guys what these plushies looked like, this was the top, sides, bottom, and then the back. And then I had made this little carrot cake plushie, and then two with strawberries, whereas this one was a chocolate cake and this one was a vanilla cake. So for this video, I'm going to be remaking the carrot cake slice plushie, and I'll show you step by step how I'm going to do that. But I will also be recreating these two as well, and I will show them at the end of the video. As always, the template is completely free, and you can find it down in the description box below, so you can go click on that link, print out the template, and use that to cut out the pieces and make your own little cake slice plushie. If you like this video, please be sure to go hit the like button. It really means a lot to me and really helps out my channel. And then also, if you haven't already, go hit the subscribe button so you can be notified every time I upload a new plushie tutorial. So without further ado, let's get into this tutorial. So the first thing I'm going to sew together is the base of the cake slice. So I'm talking about the part that's filled up with the stuffing. So this stitch that I used right here, I actually don't know what that stitch is called or if it even has a name. If you know what that stitch is called, please let me know. I have no idea. I think I was just improvising back then. I did not know what I was doing when I first started sewing. So I was just kind of making it up as I go. But even with improvising, I was able to make a little cute plushie. So that's pretty cool. But anyways, instead of sewing it together with this stitch, I don't know what it's called, I am going to be using the back stitch, and I'm going to be turning the plush inside out. I like using that method when I want to hide stitches and make them, not seen as much as possible. So I'm going to be using that method on my recreated plushie. I usually like doing that with 3D plushies, and that's what this cake slice is. It's a 3D plushie, so that's what I'm going to be doing. And I have these pieces right over here that I'm going to sew together. So another change that I'm going to make is with these two triangle-like pieces that are going to be used on the top and the bottom of the cake slice. And what I did was I made it more rounded up here versus on the old slice. It was definitely much more, I guess, boxy. And I'm doing it this way because I think rounded pieces are just in general more easier to sew together. And then also I just think it looks more cutesy that way. And then the last change that I'm going to be making is to this reddish brownish piece that's sewed around here and then around here. As you can see on the old plushie, I had one piece over here and one piece over here. And you can see that because I have some stitches going down here where I attach those two pieces together. In my opinion, if you can ever cut down the amount of pieces you're sewing together and reduce it to make the exact same plush with less pieces, it always makes making the plush easier. At least from my experience and all the plushies I've ever sewn, that is something that I have found always makes it less time consuming to sew the plushie and just in general makes the plush look cleaner. So I'm going to be using just one piece that is going to wrap all the way around versus sewing together those two separate pieces. By sewing that one piece all the way around, you're going to save time in not having to sew those two pieces together. And then also, in my opinion, it's just going to make the plush look a lot cleaner and neater because you won't see those stitches going down here either. So now that all of that is said, we can actually get started with sewing the plush together. So the first thing you're going to do is take this triangle-like piece and then this rectangle piece, and you're just going to put this around the back of the cake slice, and you're going to sew these two pieces together using the back stitch. So I threaded my needle with some thread that matches this color material right here, and then like I said before, we're going to be using the back stitch to attach these two pieces together. So to do that, you're going to make a stitch going through both pieces like this, and then you'll make another stitch right over here. And then instead of making a stitch going forwards, instead you're going to make a stitch going backwards. And you're going to make a stitch exactly where you had made that first stitch. And then you'll pull all the way. And then there you go. And you're just going to keep doing that. So we'll make another stitch over here. And then again, you'll go backwards. And then you're just going to want to keep wrapping this piece around. Just like that. And then you'll keep sewing all the way around until this piece is attached. This is what the plush should look like at this point. And next what you're going to do is take this piece and you're going to place it right here. And then you're going to sew those two pieces together right here using the back stitch. Next, you'll take this piece and then you'll wrap it all the way around the cake slice, just like this. And then you're going to sew all the way around using the back stitch to sew this piece and this piece together. After you sew this piece and this piece together, this is what the plush will look like. And next what you're going to do is take this piece over here, place it right up here, and then you're going to use the back stitch again to sew this piece and this piece together. So just sew right along here. And then also I'm going to be putting a piece of ribbon in between the plush so that the plush can be made into a keychain. So I'm just going to take this ribbon that I have right here and I'm going to cut a small piece. And then I'm going to fold this in half, just like this, to make a little loop. And then typically what I like to do is to take some Scotch tape, and I'm just going to put it right here to hold the ribbon in place. And you most certainly don't need to use Scotch tape if you don't want. This is just something I like to do. I think it makes it easier when sewing. So then once it's like this, you can cut off that extra tape right here, like that. And then you can put this piece of ribbon right here, and then take that other piece, place it here, and then sew the two pieces together using the back stitch with the ribbon in between. Next, what you're going to do is use the back stitch and sew all the way around here to attach this piece and this piece together. So this is what the plush should look like up to this point. And what we're going to do is cut off the excess material over here. So you can just take some scissors and just cut it off. Then you're just going to use the back stitch again and sew across here to attach this piece and this piece together. Now that the plush is sewn together, you're going to want to turn the plush inside out at this point. And most people would probably just leave an opening somewhere on the plush and then use that opening to turn the plush inside out and then use the ladder stitch to close that opening. But that's not what I'm going to do right now. I'm not going to use that method because honestly, whenever I use the ladder stitch like that, in my opinion, it never looks that good. I'm not very good at using the ladder stitch, so I kind of try to avoid it whenever I can, which is kind of what I'm doing right now. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut an opening right across here, turn the plush inside out, fill it up with stuffing, sew that opening closed, and ultimately that opening that I'm going to be cutting right here, you won't see on the final plush because it's going to be covered by the filling of the cake, which is this part right here. And now what I'm going to be doing is adding the decorations on the top of the plush. So on my old plushie, you can see I have a little carrot in the center, and then I have this little piece of material on the edge looking like a little piece of frosting going around the edge of the cake. And I'm just going to change up the frosting and the carrot to try and make it look a little more realistic and detailed. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to take some ribbon and I'm going to put it around here, kind of like a base to the frosting, just to add a little more glow and glitter to it. And then on top of the ribbon, I'm going to be adding on the frosting. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the running stitch on some material and bunch it up to make the frosting look more realistic. And then as for the carrot, instead of just gluing on a little orange piece and a little green piece onto the cake slice plushie, I think I'm going to take 2 orange pieces and sew them together with a little green piece in the middle. And I think I might also take some embroidery thread and sew on some little lines to add a little more detail to the carrot. I have this really pretty ribbon right here that I'm going to be using on the cake plush, and I'm just going to cut a piece of this. And then I'm going to thread and knot my needle with some white thread, and then I'm going to sew the ribbon together like this to kind of make a circle. Now I'm going to take this little piece of ribbon and I'm going to place it on top of the cake slice. And then I'm just going to do some stitches across here to attach the ribbon onto the top of the cake slice. This is what the plush will look like at this point with the ribbon up on the top. And we can put this over to the side because now we're going to work on the frosting. So to do that, you're going to take this piece right here and you're going to use the running stitch and you're going to sew all the way around the center of this piece. And then you're going to pull real tight and it's going to make a bunched up look. To do the running stitch, all you're going to do is take your sewing needle and then make a stitch right here, pull all the way, then make a stitch over here, again pull all the way, then make a stitch over here, make another stitch over here, and then you'll just keep doing that all the way around this piece. And if you want to do the running stitch a little bit quicker, what you can do is kind of do a bunch of stitches at once, kind of like this. And then pull them all together. After sewing the running stitch along this piece, you can then take your thread and pull it real tight to make that bunched up look, and then knot your thread. After this piece is all bunched together like this, you can then roll it around like this and then make a few stitches to make this piece stay in this position. And then after you do those few stitches, you can then do a few stitches to attach this right here on top of the cake slice. As you just saw, the stitches I was using to attach the frosting onto the cake slice were over here. And the reason for that is because any stitches in this region are not going to be seen when the plush is complete. And now that the frosting is complete, we can move on to the carrot. So the first thing I'm going to do to make the carrot is I'm going to take this little orange piece of felt, and then I'm going to thread and knot my needle with some of this orange embroidery thread, and I'm going to make a few lines right in the center of here to make the carrot have a little bit more detail. So now at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this green piece and I'm going to place it right here. And then I'm going to take that other orange piece and I'm going to place it right here. So basically this green piece is just in the middle of the two orange pieces. And then I'm going to use the blanket stitch and just sew all the way around to attach the carrot together. And then before sewing it completely shut, I'm going to fill it up with some stuffing. Just in case if you don't know how to do the blanket stitch, I'm going to quickly show you. So what you'll do is pull that front piece back, take your sewing needle, and make your first stitch like this. And then pull this piece back over, and then make your next stitch through both pieces of material, and then come back through where you made that first stitch. Pull, but before pulling all the way, you're going to take your sewing needle and you're going to put it through that loop right here. So you're going to take your sewing needle and then you're going to go through that loop and then pull all the way. And then there you go. So I'll show you that one more time. You'll make a stitch, pull, go through that loop, and then pull all the way. And then to do the stitches through this green piece, what you're going to do is make a stitch like this, pull, make a stitch like this, go through that loop, and then pull all the way. Just like that. And I'll show you one more time. So you'll make your stitch through all three of the pieces. Then you'll come back around just through the green piece. And then you'll go through that loop and then pull all the way. And then now that the carrot is done, I'm just going to do a few stitches to attach the carrot onto the top of the frosting. So the last step is to add the filling to the center of the cake. And you can see that on my old plushie, all I had done was cut out a piece of material and I just glued it right here. Instead of just gluing a piece of material as the filling of the cake, I think I'm going to add some ribbon and beads as well, just to add some accessories to the plushie because, I don't know, I love adding accessories when I can because they just add more of a glow and some more shine and, in my opinion, just add more personality to the plushie. To make the cake filling, I'm going to take this piece of material and then I'm going to take this ribbon and I'm going to make a few stitches to attach the ribbon right here, and then after that's sewn on, I'm going to glue the ribbon across the center of this piece of material, and then I'll glue it a little bit around on the back over here. I'm going to take some of these orange beads and I'm going to sew them across the top and also across the bottom of this piece of material. And I'm just going to be using these orange beads because I think they'll complement the carrot really well. So this is what the filling will look like when it's all complete. And then the last step is to just glue this onto the cake plush, just like this. And then you're all done. So here is the recreation of my carrot cake plushie. Honestly, I really like both of them. I like how simple the old one is, and then I also really like how detailed the new one is as well. I really like how the frosting looks really realistic, so that looks really cool. But as for the beads, I think the orange is a little too dark and harsh on the plushie. I think maybe a more transparent type of bead may have looked better. And then like I said, I was going to recreate the other two plushies as well, so let me show them to you guys. So I have the chocolate cake with the little strawberry on it, and I recreated that one like this. I really love how this one came out. I think it's really cute. I did change, instead of having a strawberry on it, I made it have a cherry on it, kind of making it like a Black Forest cake instead. And then I also recreated the other cake, which was the vanilla cake with the little strawberry on it, which was this one right here. And this was the recreation of that one. So here's all the plushies. I think out of the new cake slices I made, I think my favorite one is probably the Black Forest cake slice over there. And then my second favorite is probably this strawberry shortcake slice. And then my least favorite is probably the carrot cake slice. And it's just because I think I should have used a more lighter colored bead or maybe a transparent type of bead. I just think those beads are a little too harsh of a color and they stand out a little bit too much. I don't know, maybe I'll try and remake it again at some point. So the strawberry shortcake and the Black Forest cake are made the exact same way as the carrot cake slice piece. So you can make these all the exact same way. The only difference is the little toppings on them, the carrot, the cherry, and the strawberry. So for the strawberry shortcake, it has a little strawberry on top, and you'll use white embroidery thread to stitch on these little lines. And you'll make those lines the exact same way as I had made those lines on the carrot. And then again, you'll use the blanket stitch to go all the way around to attach the two red pieces together. And then you'll just glue on these little green pieces on the front and then on the back. And then with the Black Forest cake, to make the little cherry, you'll make it the exact same way as the carrot. You'll just sew around using the blanket stitch with this little green piece in the middle. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, everyone.